Hey, what's up? I'm Leonard, and this is Filmmaker Survival. There are a couple more things we need to talk about when it comes to day rates for film crews. On the union side of the industry, there is a thing called meal penalties. A meal penalty, or an MP, is when production decides to not break for lunch on time and to continue shooting past lunch. When that happens, the crew gets paid additional money until you officially break for lunch. The amount paid depends on the union contract that you're working under, but generally you get a meal penalty every half hour. There also can be a grace period before you get that meal penalty. If the camera is rolling and does not cut when the clock rolls past the 6-hour mark, technically production can keep rolling for 15 more minutes and not have to pay a meal penalty. But as soon as it's 1 second over that 15 minutes, you will get that meal penalty. Also, if during that 15-minute grace period they decide to cut the camera and re-roll, you will get the MP. So these are the basics of meal penalties. Real quick before I get into the numbers, if you liked these videos, make sure you give them a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for me. All right, let's get into it. When it comes to non-union productions, technically there is no such thing as a meal penalty, but that doesn't mean you can't negotiate for them. On a side note, there is a meal penalty labor law in California, so check your state or country's labor laws to see if they have meal penalties in them. The way it generally works is if a production is about to go past lunch, they will ask the crew for grace. The big thing to remember is that they are asking for grace. They are not calling grace. The crew has the power to not give grace, especially if they aren't going to pay a meal penalty. They can't make you keep working past lunch, but there is a bit of a give and take when it comes to this. If you're on set and you can tell that they really only need about an extra 10 or 15 minutes to get the shot, then it's not a huge deal to give them a grace period. Now, if you've been working on a job every day and they keep going past lunch over and over for an hour or more, absolutely you should talk with your fellow crew members and let production know that you will not be going into grace and will break for lunch at 6 hours. Some producers and first ADs can be really slimy people. They will even go to the lengths of lying to the crew that lunch isn't ready or arrived yet to get them to keep working past lunch. My friends have told me stories of this exact thing happening, and I personally had to turn off my camera, take the card out, and walk away to lunch because after days of production going 2 hours past lunch each day with no meal penalties. The DP and I even had a long conversation about it the day before with the producers and told them that no matter what, we are breaking for lunch on time. They still tried to push us past lunch and we refused. You have to stand up for yourself and your crew members when producers try to take advantage of you. My favorite quote to think about in situations like these is from Bane in The Dark Knight Rises.
You stay here. I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
I've paid you a small fortune.
This gives you power over me?
Just because production is paying you does not mean that they have complete power over you. There are laws and regulations, and the film industry is not immune to them. So the way meal penalties work for non-union jobs is once you've gone past the 15-minute grace period, you will get an extra hour's pay, and that is when it comes to non-union jobs. It's not much, but it can be a deterrent for producers because they have to pay every single crew member that extra hour, and it adds up quickly. Let's move on to our next topic, 6th and 7th day pay and holiday pay. This is mostly going to be for long form jobs, although some commercials can be a couple weeks long. When it comes to non-union jobs, this is something you absolutely need to negotiate for. If you get an offer on a long form job that's going to be shooting for even just a couple weeks, always ask if the schedule is for 5-day weeks or 6-day weeks. Many productions will schedule 6-day weeks. Even if they tell you that the schedule is 5-day weeks, you still want to negotiate for 6th and 7th day pay. 6th day pay is time and a half up to 12 hours and 2 times after 12. For 7th day pay, it's 2 times pay up to 12 hours and then 3 times after that. For holidays, it will be the same as 6-day pay. If you're working on a decently budgeted job, then many of these things will already be put into the budget by the producers, and it shouldn't be too difficult to negotiate for it. When it comes to really low budget jobs, you probably will get some pushback on some of these. Do your best to stand your ground, and if they won't give you meal penalties, make it clear to the producers and your department head that you will not work into grace periods. Like I said before, there is some give and take, and you need to use good judgment, but also you need to look out for yourself and your fellow crew. And always remember, everything is negotiable, even on union jobs. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Going off walkie.